everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Friday morning, and I would say there's a lot to be positive about, but is there? I've always thought of myself as a glass half full kind of girl, but Manchester United is really testing my patience. We have a huge blow coming out this morning with Amrabat reportedly leaving. Well, he has left the Moroccan national team because of an injury. What sort of injury is it? Is it something to be fearful of? We're going to get into that in today's show. More updates on Jadon Sancho, more stuff coming out from the media targeting Jadon Sancho. What you think? What are your thoughts about that? Do you think it's too harsh? Do you think it's the right thing to do to kind of be talking about Jadon Sancho's personality? Should we just focus on the pitch? Stuff coming out about the dressing room. I mean, it's really interesting stuff, but is it the right thing to be happening right now? We'll talk about that. Also, I don't want to be talking about it, but there is a little update on Antony as well and the situation that's going on with him, whether he's going to be suspended, where this is actually going to go. It's just not something that we want to talk about on here, or I'm sure you guys want to kind of hear about and listen to, and not something that should be happening, but we've got to talk about it because it is the news and a little bit of a few things, other things to talk about as well. But it is Friday, everyone. Happy Friday morning. We've got a weekend and it is an international break, so we've actually not got Man United. And as much as I miss Man United, international week is boring. Like, let's be honest, it is boring. But you get like a weekend, you can lie in bed. Unfortunate, because I do like to watch, the 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday morning. But you have the Sidemen game. You've got the Sidemen game to watch with Goldbridge managing, and now Angry Ginge as well is part of the Sidemen team. Angry Ginge versus Goldbridge, two people from the United Stand representing on the Sidemen charity game. So that's going to be an exciting watch. And I bet it gets more viewers than the England game, to be honest. To be honest with you, I think it's on at the same time. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the United Stand, and we're going to get into all the latest Manchester United news. I'm going to try and be, not going to be positive because this news isn't positive, but I'm going to try and make it so we all go out of this show feeling a little bit better about things. But let's start off with the first bit of news coming in. Officially, Amrabat has been replaced in the Morocco national team due to an injury. I'm not going to lie, when I saw this last night, I thought to myself, are you having a laugh? Are you having a laugh? Like, genuinely, Manchester United, I've seen people put out there, are we cursed? It feels like we are. How can we not go one day without bad news? And I'm a positive person, but like I said, it's really testing my patience. One single day without some bad news. How excited is everyone for Amrabat coming in? I mean, I was planning to film a little video on him today, like a breakdown video, looking about who maybe will replace in the starting 11. Will he start? What his impact's going to be? And now we've heard about this injury. I'm like, it literally just can't. You keep thinking to yourself, it can't get any worse, and then it does. Like, there's always something coming out with Man United. Positive news is really hard to come by nowadays with Man United, and this is just something you don't want. The only good thing that you can think about this is that Amrabat doesn't have a major injury. His withdrawal is a precaution. So I'm hoping that means, obviously, he's not going to be out for a long time. Maybe he'll even start at Brighton. Maybe he's come out of the Moroccan national team to do some recovery so he can be back in time for the Brighton game, depending on what the injury is. But to be honest with you, he'll probably start on the bench if he's not injured. And then sometimes we hear about these precautionary injuries and they end up going on for another week and for another week and for another week. And I just hope that isn't the way it turns out. So I'm hoping he's going to be okay. I'm hoping he's going to be able to play for Man United. I'm hoping it's nothing too major. But it's not great news, is it? Because if he was fit, he'd be in the Moroccan national team. He's got something. And we heard about it the start of this week, that maybe he's got a little niggle somewhere. So the fact he's been withdrawn from the Moroccan national team, hopefully it's just to keep him fit and keep him sharp, because we're in desperate need of him at Manchester United. But it's not good news to hear on your Friday morning heading into your weekend, isn't it? Daniel Farr says Martinez isn't being played because of precaution. Yeah, I've seen that. And am I right in thinking Haaland was benched for Norway yesterday? Odegaard was playing, all their good players were playing. Haaland's bench. I was thinking, what's Pep said to that Norway manager? What pings? What strings is he pulling there? We need to pull them sort of strings. I was happy that Højlund did start on the bench as well, because I was thinking, I don't want him to get an injury. He's only just come back from an injury. When he came on, he looked really technically good, and he looks good. But yeah, Martinez not playing because of precaution definitely needs to happen. When we saw about that little niggle he had on his foot where he had that major injury at the end of last year, we don't want anything going wrong on that. And when that initially happened at Arsenal, and then they ended up going on his international duty, I was like, Martinez, Leacher, the butcher, why have you done this to me? Why have you done this to me? You're the butcher. We needed you against Arsenal. It's 1-1 and you're going off and then you're fine to go and play for your national team. What's going on here? But now I know the full information on this subject. It literally was precaution from Martinez and from Erik ten Hag and his coaching staff, obviously, because we absolutely need him to stay fit. And if he felt anything on the same injury that he had, that major injury as at the end of last year, you want to protect it and not overdo it because you don't want a major injury occurring. So now I've heard the full story. Obviously, I'm okay with it. But I was thinking to myself at the time, no, Leacher, what are you doing to me? But the fact he's not playing is out of precaution. And I'm hoping it's the same thing with Amrabat. He's had a little niggle. We've got all these little niggles. Like Højlund had his back. Martinez, he's got his foot. I mean, Varane's always got something wrong with him. And now it's like Amrabat had this kind of little niggle we know about. Now it's precaution. I'd rather him be taken out for precaution than be able to play because we're in desperate need of him. Going into the Brighton game, we need to have Amrabat as an option. Ten Hag clearly doesn't fancy McTominay. Donny van de Beek looks like he's going to go to Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. He's not going to be there. We can't just have the options of Bruno, Eriksen and Casemiro again because if anything happens to them, we're in trouble. And plus, we've been struggling so much to get passes into the final third and to retain possession in the final third. We're good at regaining it, pressing and hunting it down. We're not good at keeping the ball. We're really poor at keeping the ball in the final third. Amrabat has off-the-chart stats, within the last year, which I wanted to bring into this video, about passes into the final third, possession in the final third, carrying the ball, and he's defensively very, very sharp as well. And against a team like Brighton that are going to come at you, play attacking football, have really technically gifted players, play a possession-based system, Amrabat's going to be needed to break that up. So I want to be able to play Amrabat at Old Trafford, so I'm hoping it is just precaution. But get in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this? Are you worried about it? Do you think it's just precaution? Is it something that's unsettled you? Is it kind of the last thing on your mind with all the stuff coming out with Man United at the moment? Let me know in the comments what you think. We'll actually run a poll on it. We'll run a poll. Do you think Amrabat will make an appearance against Brighton at home? Obviously, I think that is a week on Saturday. Will he make an appearance, Amrabat? We'll get that poll going in the chat. Hey Beth, why are you stressed about Manchester United? I'm stressed because of all the news that is coming out. I'm stressed because of all the news that is coming out. Ismail says, this club literally has a mounting of bleep piled up and there's more bleep that keeps surfacing and adding onto it. It's a bloody nightmare. Yeah, every day you wake up and I think, am I going to get some sort of positive news? Am I going to get something going for me? And no, it's not. I was upstairs, I was just about to get in the shower last night, guys. Picture the scene. Well, don't picture that scene. Don't picture that scene. But I'm just about to get in the shower. Just about to get in the shower last night. And my brother's shouting upstairs, Beth, and I'm like, what? And he's like, Amrabat's injured. And I'm like, you're having me on. I thought to myself, you are having me on. Like, this is a joke. He likes to, we like to give each other banter, take the mick, you know what I mean? I come out in my towel to check my phone because I have my notifications on. Next thing you know, I see Amrabat's injured. I tweet out straight away, wake me up next season. But I'm hoping he's going to play and he's going to make an impact. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, that didn't come out right. But you know what? It is what it is. It's a Friday morning. We can say what we want on here. And get in the poll, do you think Amrabat will make an appearance against Brighton? Yes or no? I'm going to go with... what should I go with? I'm going to go with yes out of pure positivity. 55% yes. 45% say no. So we'll keep that running, see what you guys think. Over 1,000 votes in the room. So make sure you hit a like on the video if you want Amrabat to play against Brighton. If you want him to be fit, make sure you hit a like. Happy Friday morning, everyone. But we'll move on to the next little bit of news. So people are saying picture different people in the shower. I've just seen one saying picture Sir Jim in the shower. Come on now. Come on now, guys. Do you really want to do that? I mean, whatever takes your fancy. If you want to picture Sir Jim in the shower, you go ahead. That might be your kind of thing. You know what I mean? Keel Robinson says, I'm glad Erik ten Hag has to play the kids and Palestri now. Erik ten Hag has played the kids and Palestri. Be careful what you wish for. I really want Palestri to play, but we don't want to be in a situation when we have to rely on youth players because inexperience does creep in. Apparently the mic is cutting out again. What is wrong with this thing? It did that last time we were on stream. Apparently it's not over here, so Guys, maybe it's your internet. Maybe it is us, but maybe it's your internet. Glazers Out says, is it a coincidence that we have signed Højlund and he is reported injured and now Amrabat? I think it is a coincidence, yeah. I think it is a coincidence. I don't think we just go and buy injured players. I think it is a coincidence. But moving on to the next little bit of news coming out about Jadon Sancho. I saw Faz's show on this yesterday. I know Faz is very firmly in the mindset, don't disrespect the club, don't disrespect the manager, no one's bigger than the club, Jadon Sancho should never play again. You guys heard my thoughts. I said it on the forum, I said it on this morning show after it. I was disgusted at the statement that Sancho put out. I really didn't like it. I thought it was disrespectful. I thought he deserved to be dropped from the squad because of it. And I thought he showed a really poor attitude. However, I am a firm believer that people deserve second chances. I am a firm believer, obviously in the right context. You know, I don't believe, you know, it depends what you do. Jadon Sancho, you know, has disrespected his manager. For me, disrespected the club and the teammates after a loss against Arsenal. And he's shown himself to have a pretty poor attitude, I think, in that statement, based on what's come out around Erik ten Hag and the reason he wasn't playing. But, I am of the opinion, if Jadon Sancho wants to turn around to Erik ten Hag, apologise, and put the work in training, I think he's a very, very talented player that can reach the heights if he puts the work in. I believe that, you know, a player like that can have a second chance. You shouldn't just write someone off over one mistake. I don't believe that at all. And I really am not a fan of the media saying, oh, Jadon Sancho, you know, he's quiet, he's shy, he's not easy to let on to. You know, all sort of them reports. Who cares? Do you know, at the end of the day, if he's performing on the pitch, no one's writing an article about how Jadon Sancho is a little bit shy. Everyone's got different personalities. Some people are really bubbly. Some people keep themselves. Some people aren't comfortable, you know, being like the biggest character in the room. Apparently sometimes Jadon Sancho wants to let on, sometimes he doesn't. People have different personalities. You never know what's going on with people. We heard about maybe some of the stresses he had mentally, so you can understand that side of things. I think it's a real witch hunt to kind of just start going for his personality, and I don't like it, especially with the fact that, you know, we had the Greenwood stuff coming out and you barely got to hear a peep about his personality and them things. You know, I don't like the targeting of a player's personality. However, that doesn't mean I don't think what he did was wrong, and I think it is massively wrong. And I said, you know, he's never had a he's never had a man of the match performance in United shirt. He's had good moments. He's never had a man of the match performance. He's not proved himself over 3 years. We've not got what we expected with him. He's on a lot of money. To not train hard is an absolute joke. And then to come out 20 minutes after the statement, 20 minutes after Erik ten Hag's comment, which wasn't malicious in the slightest, it was just being truthful. The reason Sancho wasn't in the squad is because I don't think he trained well enough. It's a truthful comment. To then come out with that statement, I thought it was wrong. I thought it was out of order, and he deserves to be punished for it. But I do think Erik ten Hag will hold clear the air talks with him. It's just whether Jadon Sancho wants to change, wants to apologise, and wants to move on. Because Garnacho didn't play a minute of pre-season, and Erik ten Hag came out, and Bruno, and said his attitude wasn't right. Garnacho didn't come out with a statement. I know he's a youth player, so it is a little bit different there. You know, Sancho is a senior player. But Garnacho changed his attitude, worked hard, and now him and Erik ten Hag have a really good relationship. So he gets a lot of minutes. Like, it is possible to turn the corner. It happens in loads of different clubs. You've just got to have the right attitude and the right mindset. If I'm a manager and a player's really annoyed me and he's done the wrong things, if he comes to me and says, look, I really want to change things. I really kind of want to change my attitude. I want to work hard. I want to work for this team. I want to give everything on the pitch for this badge. I'm going to say, look, you've got a lot of kind of work to do, but of course you can have that opportunity if you're willing to change. I think that should be a case, but it'll be interesting to see how the Jadon Sancho thing moves along. I got into a really opinion-based kind of talk then, but we are going to bring in some news because there is some new news on this. Anders, the dad, says, sad to see not only the girlfriends get hospitalised, but also the players. In all seriousness, what the hell is going on at this club? Train of consequences. I don't know what that means from that super chat. And Tracy Taylor says, Beth, Ronaldo in the shower. No comment on that one, everyone. But yeah, let's move on to the actual news on Jadon Sancho that's coming out. So it came out from Ben Jacobs that the understanding on Jadon Sancho and Al Ettifaq is the Saudi club did request the conditions of a deal yesterday in what's being termed as a small inquiry. They immediately ruled out a move. Sources close to the club indicate it was impossible because Manchester United wanted a loan with a 50 million obligation to buy. So if El Attifaq would have came in and said, look, you can have a loan and we'll give you 50 mil at the end of it, United would have let Sancho go. That is very telling. Clearly, we've heard in the summer anyway that Erik ten Hag was open to letting him go for the right price. Clearly, Jadon Sancho isn't somebody that is considered a really important player in that Manchester United team. Clearly, they're willing to let him go. I think this might reignite in January because Jadon Sancho, I don't think, puts a statement out like that if he's not looking to get a move. Like, I think he probably wants to go and have a fresh start as well. He clearly, wasn't happy with what Erik ten Hag said with him. Whether you think that's right or wrong, I personally think it's wrong, and I think he has a bad attitude. I can't lie. From what's happened, my personal opinion, from the outside looking in, I think he has a bad attitude, and I think it's completely disrespectful. If someone offered me now 50 million for Jadon Sancho, I'd say absolutely yes. He can leave, gets drama out of the club. He's not been good enough for us. That's fine. Also, if he was willing to sit here and work hard and train and get to the level that we know he can, I'd be happy for him to stay. But them things aren't certain. They're just, guessing games. So it looks like Man United were looking to let him go, which is very, very interesting. Would you let Jadon Sancho go for 50 million? That's the question. The poll on do you think Amrabat will make an appearance against Brighton is 53% yes, 47% no. I'll keep a memory of that, screenshot, put it in my memory, and we'll come back to that after the Brighton game and see if we were right or not. I said yes. But we'll see. We'll now do a new poll saying, Sancho, would you let him go for 50 million? I'd be interested to see what you guys think. Would you be willing to let him go for 50 million pounds? Let's get that going in the chat. But there's been loads more coming out about Jadon Sancho, and we're going to get onto it. So Sami Mokbel did a piece last night on Jadon Sancho, and he said Manchester United were not cleared to go public with Jadon Sancho's fight against mental health difficulties last season. First of all, I might be wrong, but I don't think Erik ten Hag or Man United ever came out and said Jadon Sancho isn't in the team because he's suffering from mental health problems. I don't think that ever was the case. I don't think Erik ten Hag actually said the reason. I don't think ever. So I didn't understand that, unless I'm wrong on that one. But I had a look and I don't think he did. And then it says as well, sources close to United insist Ten Hag, who did not specifically use the term mental health exactly, believed he was being supportive of Sancho in the aforementioned comments and continued to speak supportively of the player during his absence. I agree. I think Ten Hag did a really good job of. I remember he used to get asked about Jadon Sancho in interviews, in press conferences. He'd say, no, not talking about it. It'd be simple as that. And he protected him and he supported him. I remember it completely. Give him 3 months off. It's very rare in any walk of life when you're in a job that you get 3 months off paid. Jadon Sancho got it, and I agree that was the right thing to do at the time, but Ten Hag needed an attacker in that moment in time, and he's still giving that time off, and he supported him. And he didn't ever say about I don't think he said about the mental health issues, which again has just been brought up in that article. And then Sami Mokbel says, sources close to Old Trafford feel it would have been difficult to explain the long absence as solely injury-related when that wasn't the case, whilst Ten Hag also believes physical and mental fitness are linked with a requirement to be able to play in both, to play elite-level football. So you have to have both mental and physical fitness. They're both required, Erik ten Hag has the opinion. And I agree with that as well, completely. And I remember when Erik ten Hag first came into this football club and he got like a sports psychologist in, he got members of staff in, to work on the mental side of stuff with the players. Ten Hag is obviously a big advocate of that, and anyone who is a successful coach or a successful athlete, there is a common denominator. Half of the issue is up here, and it is proven within sports. Mentality is absolutely huge. Do not get me wrong, Ronaldo is incredibly talented, but I don't think he would have ever reached the heights that he reached without having that insane mentality that he had. Mentality is so important in sports, and I've read about this. I love reading about stuff like this, and in life as well. I'm a massive advocate of having a positive mindset, a growth mindset, manifestation, all of that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that, footballers, Jadon Sancho's got to kind of manifest his Man United career, but what I am saying is a positive mindset and believing in yourself and having that strong mentality is absolutely huge in all walks of life, and especially within sport. So Ten Hag is absolutely right to think that. Do you know, I was actually reading this book and there was a study done. I can't remember what team it was, but it was a professional basketball team in America, and they did an experiment, and basically for like a month, I can't remember what the exact time sample was, but for a month before a game, like a training game, it wasn't like an actual like big game, I don't think. Oh, it might have been, I can't quite remember, but before a game anyway, players would, for an hour before the game, they would practice. You know, they would practice shooting hoops, they would practice dribbling, they would practice, you know, interceptions. They would practice how to play the game, how to play basketball. These are elite level players. And they kind of recorded the results over the period of that month. And then for a different month, what they would do for an hour before the game, they would sit in the basketball court and they would visualise themselves intercepting. They would visualise themselves scoring, you know, the shots. They would visualise themselves winning that game. And the results were actually massively skewed in the favour of the team that sat there beforehand. And it was the same team, but when they sat there beforehand and visualised themselves winning the game, visualise themselves scoring, visualise themselves mentally rather than actually practicing it. And obviously you've got to have the talent, but I found that really insightful in the fact that mentality is actually so huge in sports, and that can make or break players. That can make or break players when you come to United. It's a huge club. It takes mental strength, and a lot of players don't have it, but you've got to have it to perform at the high level. It's like Rashford, you know, he had that terrible year. He comes with Eric Ten Hag, they work on stuff, and Ten Hag constantly mentions if he keeps his headspace right, Rashford will score goals. He's got the talent. And you see it when he does his celebration, you know, mentality celebration. When you get to grips with how important mentality is, it really is powerful, and you need that to play for Manchester United. But anyway, off on a little tangent there, but maybe you learnt something from that, or maybe you already knew about it. Would you let Sancho leave for 50 million? I'm going to say yes on this, and wow, 86% of you say yes with over 2,000 votes. That is craziness. Well, it's not craziness after what's just happened, to be honest with you. I understand it, but I saw a lot of love for Sancho, and I know a lot of people really like him, so I didn't expect it to be 86%, but after what happened with Eric Ten Hag, you disrespect the manager. I'm 100% behind Ten Hag. You can leave, and for 50 million, I'd absolutely take it. Ricky Moreno says Sancho isn't ready for a retirement league, and if Antony doesn't play this season, that's 80 mil down the drain. Glad it's you this morning, Beth. Thank you, Ricky, for the chat. And that's, again, it's a brilliant point. Sancho at 23, it would be such a shame to see him go to Saudi. Like, you would. I believe the talent is there. Like I said, mentality needs to be there, but I believe the talent is there. Antony, we'll get onto that at the later stages of the show. It's not looking good for Antony. It's not. And Sancho could be needed in this team, which is why I think the clear the air talks will happen, and you know, things will get back on track. It's amazing to think if Sancho would have shut his mouth for 24 hours, he would have been playing right wing for this team and had a proper chance at solidifying his spot and sealing it down. And this is why you really need to be careful the way you act in life and be advised correctly. But yeah, 80 mil down the drain. I mean, we can't help what these players do, but it background checks and all this sort of stuff is like, is this not happening at the club? But yeah. Anyway, let's move on to, I need to have a look at what you guys think about. Oh, the poll is gone. I wanted to just have a quick little reminder on the poll. But 84% of you, from what I could see, said that Jadon Sancho, you would take 50 million. But this is where it gets interesting, guys. This is where it gets very interesting through an article that came out this morning. 86%. An article that came out this morning from Mark Ogden. I know you guys love Mark Ogden on the show. We've had him on a few times. He's a bit divisive, you know, he's opinionated, but he did do an article this morning with, I know he has good sources in Old Trafford. He said that Jadon Sancho is facing a battle to regain the support of his Manchester United teammates, as well as Eric Ten Hag. One source has said that there is little sympathy for Sancho inside the dressing room, saying that the players have had enough of him. What do you guys think about that? Obviously, we can't take it as the 100% truth, but it is. Mark Ogden is a very reliable journalist. This is a good report. Sancho is facing a battle to regain his support from Man United teammates as well as Ten Hag, and one source says there is little sympathy for Sancho inside the dressing room, one saying the players have had enough of him. What do you think about that? Do you think it is? Because there's a couple of routes you can go down. It's Man United PR spin to try and get the fans behind the manager and against Sancho because they want to get rid of him and they don't believe, they're not happy with what he's done and they don't believe he has a future at the club. Or this is genuine and this is actually stuff that's coming out of the dressing room. It's not great that we have dressing room leaks and leaks at Manchester United, but I didn't expect it to go this way. I can't lie. From what I've seen at Manchester United over the years, I see player power at full strength and I see players that think that they can get away with stuff. I see players that don't want to put in the hard yards. I see players that like to blame everybody else around them and not blame themselves. That's what I've seen. We've seen it multiple times on multiple different occasions with different players. I assumed that, the players that are feeling this way and want to blame the manager and aren't happy that they're not starting, aren't happy with the game time that they're getting, would kind of team up with Sancho in the dressing room. And I was thinking potentially maybe Erik ten Hag's going to have a struggle on his hands to keep this dressing room together. However, it'd be very interesting if people inside that dressing room are thinking, what the heck is Sancho doing? Because I'd be thinking that if I was in there. And I've said it so many times in the show, the players, not all of them, because obviously we've got new players in, but long-standing players at that club are very used to having the soft approach, very used to having, gently, you can turn up late for training, but you're still going to play next game because you're really important. They're used to having that approach. I mean, managers have been sacked on the basis of player power before, like Mourinho. They're falling out with Pogba, Martial, all that sort of stuff. Luke Shaw even, and I don't think the way he handled Luke Shaw was good. I honestly don't. I think it did go too far with Mourinho, and I like Luke Shaw. But managers have been sacked off that basis. I mean, Mourinho wanted to sell Martial, and he got told no on that. So we've had player power at the club for a long time. It would be nice if finally, the manager had the power, and Erik ten Hag has the ability to impose his high standards and impose his leadership on the team. He is the boss, and I think that should exactly what should be the case. And to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of people coming out on Twitter this morning saying, just coming for Jadon Sancho's character. Why are people turning against Sancho? Why are these articles coming out about Sancho, about how the dressing room's not happy with him? And what I would say on this, I absolutely don't think Sancho should be targeted for his personality, for the way he goes about, life at Manchester United, for being quiet, all of these things. Some people have different personalities. I absolutely don't think that. But why not can Mark Ogden put an article out if he's got good sources about players not being happy with Jadon Sancho? Because obviously they wouldn't be. If you have any sort of, if you want to win stuff for Man United this season, if you want to win stuff for Manchester United, you want the team to be together, and you want there to be unity within the squad, within the dressing room, you want players to work hard. Based on what we know, if I'm a United player that's giving everything in that dressing room and I want to win, I'd be annoyed at that statement. Like, I've just played a game against Arsenal. I'm really annoyed that we've lost when we probably shouldn't have. I'm really annoyed we've not picked up the right amount of points we have so far this season. And I know for a fact that Jadon Sancho hasn't been giving everything in training, because he hasn't been. By the way, he hasn't been. He can have opinions. Jadon Sancho can say he's not, but he won't have been if Erik ten Hag's dropping him from the squad. There's a reason for that, and Ten Hag said it himself. There's been multiple reports come out over the years about Sancho not, training at the highest level. And I believe there's no smoke without fire. So if this is all true, which we don't know if it's absolutely true, but if this is all true, if I'm a player and I'm hearing and I've seen this statement on the coach on the way home, after we've got so much negative press around us anyway, I would be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? We've just lost against Arsenal. We're in a pretty bad place right now. There's loads of stuff coming out. Why are you now coming out against the manager? That's what I'd be thinking in my head. So I can understand if players in the dressing room are a little bit annoyed, I could understand it, because I think I would be in that situation as well. Ronald Tutil says, this is character assassination by the media. Yeah, but we don't, that's the thing, we don't know if it is true. It could just be media spin, and I did say that is an option at the start. It could be a spin to kind of, turn people against Sancho in this situation, because maybe Man United don't want to continue with him at the club. But what I would say is, if everything we've heard is correct about Sancho, if I was a player in that dressing room, whether these articles there shouldn't be leaks, by the way. There shouldn't be leaks, and these articles shouldn't be coming out. But I would be annoyed about it. I would be. I've got to be honest. Would you be annoyed about it if you were giving your all every single week, and you just lost to Arsenal, and you're annoyed about it, you're on the coach home, and you see someone who's not been training hard come out against the manager and call themselves a scapegoat on social media? Would you be annoyed about that? Because I would be. I think you've got to kind of take stuff on the chin sometimes, even if you don't believe it. Even if Jadon Sancho believes he has trained hard and believes he's a scapegoat, sometimes you just got to take it on the chin and work even harder and train even harder and wait for the manager to get back and say, look, manager, gaffer, can I have a little meeting with you? Sure, Jadon, we can. I wasn't really happy with your comments that you said after the Arsenal game. I feel like I've been giving my all in training. Can you explain to me what you think I can do better? How we can resolve this? How I can get myself into this team? That's what I think should have happened rather than that statement, to be honest with you. But this is the situation that we're in. If Sancho had the leg room, if he had, he's been here for 3 years, if he had, performances under his belt, if he had kind of the credit in the bank, you'd probably be a bit more understanding. I don't think any player should do that, but this is the situation we're in. Mark Ogden also said, Man United's players accept and respect Ten Hag's firm approach because it applies without exception to squad members, regardless of their status. And Jadon Sancho's reaction has gone down badly within the dressing room, but it was not greeted with a surprise, from Mark Ogden again. Revo says a good manager would have spoke to him before and after. He probably did speak to him before about it. He probably did speak to him before about it. We don't know. And Sing Game says Erik ten Hag should have made the meeting before. Why lie in public? Stop blaming Sancho for a situation the manager created. Oh God, that hurts my head. And you can have that opinion, of course you can, but it hurts my head because what does Erik ten Hag have to gain about lying about this in public, creating more drama for Man United? What does he have to gain? He needs attackers. Our attackers have been really poor this start of the season. He needs attackers. Why would he individualise a player? He's not lied about it, guys. He's not lied about it. Absolutely not. And, we've heard many players saying Ten Hag is a strict coach. He's firm. I like that. And again, coming out that they respect the firm approach. If I was a player, I'd want a manager that was strict and firm because it means I'm more likely to win something. And that's what I want to do. So, it could be media spin. It could be the truth. Whatever it is, it shouldn't be leaked out there and shouldn't be, dressing room leaks shouldn't be happening, whether it's true or not. But I'm going to be honest, I have sympathy for Jadon Sancho in, the stuff he's gone through behind the scenes and the character assassination of his personality, because that isn't on. But I don't have sympathy for if players maybe are fed up of it, of this sort of, statement, and if players do feel a bit let down of it, and I don't have sympathy for Ten Hag dropping him from the squad if he's not trained correctly. That's where I draw the line. No player is bigger than the club, and I don't think players should be coming out against the manager. However, what I would say on this subject, which I think is important to bring in, where's the media report saying the dressing room aren't happy with Greenwood? Where's the media report saying the dressing room aren't happy with Antony if this comes to light? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're a lot more serious topics that I'm sure the dressing room do have opinions on. So that's something I would kind of put out there. Faz in the building. How's everyone feeling? Hello, Faz. Watched your show last night. I was just talking about you saying players shouldn't be bigger than the club, but that's something I would throw in there. You get the reports about Sancho, but where are the reports about Antony? Where are the reports about Greenwood? They're much more serious issues that we didn't really hear much about. But what I will move on to for the last part of the show, which I think is important to talk about, however frustrating it can be, and it is a frustrating subject, it is a sensitive subject, but we're going to talk about it, and it is the update on Sanctity. Got Sancho and Antony mixed up there, didn't I? Because I'm so used to talking about them both with all the news. It is the update from Antony and what's going on with him. I'm sure by now everybody knows the situation with Antony. There were the allegations against him. He's not been charged, but there is multiple allegations against him. United have decided not to suspend him, but it just keeps looking worse and worse. Arkil Aravin says, media loving this from United. Are we surprised? Thank you for your super chat. So, Antony obviously had the charges put against him by Gabriella Cavalin. I think there's one report that's been dealt with by the Greater Manchester Police that happened in England, and the rest is happening over in Brazil. So there is an investigation open in England as well, and an investigation open in Brazil too. So the police will be looking into that. When there's substantial evidence, he will be charged. He's not been charged yet. But this is where it's starting to not look very good for Antony. And I did do a show the other day saying, when I just heard about this, saying, you know, I do believe in innocent till proven guilty. I do believe you shouldn't be suspended based off just an allegation. But more that's coming to light about this, the more I'm thinking maybe we are heading towards suspension, and it's not looking good for Antony, because a police report from May 2022 made by a different lady also describes violent behaviour from Antony. The victim claimed to be physically assaulted by Antony and a woman in a car in Sao Paulo. She was admitted to the hospital with bodily injuries and had her exams taken to the civil police. Then it came out after that there is a third woman that is coming out with allegations against Antony, and he's planning to go on television to do a television interview on Sunday to talk about what Antony has done to her and, you know, the abuse she suffered from Antony. So that is 3 women that have come out against Antony. The first one, obviously that's been going on for quite a while, but it's kind of picked up a lot more substance recently, which is, you know, Gabriella. The second one, which is another lady from an incident in 2022 against Brazil. And the third one coming out to do a interview on Sunday. That doesn't look good. 3 different people accusing someone of violent conduct and abuse never ever looks good. Like I said, smoke without fire. What I would say is Antony's still not been charged, but it just doesn't look good, does it? And I've heard a few people say, well, why have 2 people decided to come out now after, you know, the first person's come out? And first of all, on that, I would say, sometimes victims of abuse, you know, they don't have the confidence to come out and speak about these things. Whereas when it kind of goes public, one person makes that step, the others can make that step as well. Secondly, the second person, the police report was filed in 2022, so we didn't really see much come of that. I've not completely read into it, but I'm sure we'll see more of it come to light. But the third woman is just now come out about it. So third woman has now showed up accusing Antony of physical assault. Record TV will air an interview with Ingrid Lana on Sunday evening. That'll be interesting to see what she says there. Well, not interesting, but we'll have to see what he said. And the Telegraph came out and said, United declined to comment on the new charges against Antony. The club have been advised to proceed with caution as investigations are ongoing in Brazil and the UK. And the presumption of innocence remains as important principle in both jurisdictions. Obviously, again, despite the fact I've said it does not look good at all, he's still not been charged. We need to wait to see how the police deal with this. Navin says it's getting harder to support Antony with more and more revelations coming out with each passing day. As you'd say, Beth, there's no smoke without fire. Exactly, Navin, thank you for that. Like, it's just super, 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 super frustrating. Like, it really is. And if these women do have evidence, substantial evidence, and I said on the show the other day I hadn't seen any pictures or evidence put out there. Someone sent me it, which obviously isn't nice to see, but someone sent me, it was some graphic pictures from Gabriella's case, and obviously if them pictures are caused by Antony, that is a massive, massive issue, and it's disgusting. If any of these allegations are true, it's disgusting, and he should go to prison, and he shouldn't play for Manchester United. It's just super, super disappointing, and you've got to kind of... And I keep having to say if it is true, because he's not been charged yet, and we'll have to see how things going out. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. But what I do want to say is, why are Manchester United not doing background checks on players? We signed Antony in August 2022. There was a police report made from violent behaviour against Antony in May 2022. Surely Ajax would have known about it. Maybe they, kept it quiet because they wanted to sell him. We don't know. But surely Man United would have done a check. And the fact that they've not done it, well, I don't know what's worse. The fact they've not done a background check on this, or the fact that they've done it, seen it, and chosen to ignore it and still buy him. Like, which one's worse in that situation? Obviously, probably the latter one. But Man United need to be doing background checks. Another one, Jared Isady saying, Erik ten Hag knows Antony so well, surely he knew. Sometimes you think people are nice people. And again, I'm not saying Antony has done it because he's not been charged, but sometimes you think people are nice people and then they're just completely not what it seems. You've heard it. If you've watched, the Netflix documentaries, all the documentaries on these people, sometimes criminals, which is what Antony will be if he gets charged, criminals will put on this, criminals, you don't think the criminals, let's put it that way, they'll put on this facade, they'll not act like a criminal to people that they don't want to act like a criminal to. Antony's not gone round, if he has committed these cases, he's not gone round, telling Erik ten Hag about how he's been violent towards women. Obviously, that's not happened. People cover it up, and they're very good at it as well. This is now coming to light, and I'm sure a lot of people in this situation who know Antony, if it is true, and are, friends of Antony or know Antony, are very shocked about what's happening. If people thought Antony was capable of these acts, he wouldn't be playing for Manchester United on Erik ten Hag because, you'd obviously know that these people have morals and they have values. But again, if it has happened, he's not been charged, these are allegations. It's so disappointing. You hope the women obviously get the help that they deserve. And you think to yourself, why has Man United not picked this up if one of the reports happened in May 2022? It's just, it's so annoying. It's the same position as well, right wing. Like, why can't Man United just have normality? Why can't we employ people, if he has done it, that, don't commit criminal acts? It's an issue. It's another issue Erik ten Hag has to tackle and face. Obviously, as we know it right now, Antony is still part of this Man United team, because he hasn't been charged. And I've seen in the chat before saying, well, Greenwood was charged straight away. There was resounding evidence going viral about Mason Greenwood by the victim, plastered all over social media. He had to be, for the voice note alone, he had to be suspended. In a lot of other cases where players, are accused, which does happen, unfortunately, they don't immediately get suspended. Although I would say, with the direction that this is going, with 3 accusations, it looks like it could be heading in that way. And as I've always said, there is no smoke without fire. But at the same time, sometimes people are misaccused and they haven't done these things. We've got to tread lightly with this subject. But it's Man United. This is where we're at on this situation. We'll have to see how it's handled. One thing I would say is I don't trust Man United to handle this properly. I don't trust Man United to handle it with care, and I don't trust them to handle it in the right way, because we've seen evidence before that this hasn't been handled correctly, these sort of cases. We've seen it. What I would also say on this is we had Jamie Jackson on deadline day, and they were saying that United were hoping to take the Greenwood situation as a learning curve of how not to act and how to act. And I would just say back to that, like, I still don't trust that they will handle if Antony, does get charged with this and he does have to be suspended and not play for the club and all of these sort of things. I don't trust the club to handle it in the right way because of the history that we've seen. But what I would say is it makes it very different for Man United. Greenwood was never actually charged with anything. Scrap that, rewind. Greenwood was charged by the police. Greenwood was charged, he was arrested. But Greenwood never went to court and it was never guilty or not guilty. With Antony, I assume with 3 people that are coming out against him, that if he does get charged and it goes to court, you will get an either not guilty or guilty verdict, which then Man United can take that by here. But it's going to be a long, long process. We'll have to see how it goes. This is where we're at. But anyway, guys, I don't want to end it on a bad note. So before we end the show, what can I talk about that's sort of positive before I end the show? What I will talk about that is sort of positive before the end of the show is that if you didn't watch, Denmark played last night. Eriksen got man of the match. He played super, super well. He's having a really good few weeks. I thought he played really well for United against Arsenal. Obviously, the Odegaard goal was unfortunate. Eriksen sort of was at fault for that, but that pass through to Rashford and the rest of his game, all in all, was very, very good. Like, he's looked good. He had a great game for Denmark. Højlund came on. He looked technically good. He looked strong. And I'm excited to see him play for number 9 for United. So that's the positivity that you can take away from the show. Also, you have Goldbridge Ball coming to you tomorrow. 3 p.m. I think kickoff is. Sold out. Sidemen charity game. Ginge playing for the Sidemen as well. It's a great cause to play for charity and earn all of this money for charity. It's an amazing cause, and I'll be watching. And hopefully, I don't know. It's a really tough one. Do I want Ginge to win on the Sidemen's team, or do I want Goldbridge to win? Goldbridge Ball. We want Goldbridge Ball to win. Let's be honest, guys. We want Goldbridge Ball to win. So we'll be supporting that team. I think he's managing the All-Stars tomorrow. Well, I will be anyway. And it'll just be exciting to kind of, to have a little bit of fun watching football. It's not serious. You've got a week off from Man United in the Premier League. Even though I do think internationals are boring, you've got an exciting game tomorrow and you can look forward to that. But everyone, thank you very much for tuning in this Friday morning. Ronald Tuchel, Super Chat. Erik ten Hag was still manager of Ajax till the end of May. God, it's eye-opening, isn't it? It is eye-opening. Peter Fassé says, wishing a happy birthday to our captain. Oh my gosh, yes, Peter Fassé, member 17 months. I saw it this morning. How have I not brought it in yet? You guys know, I'm the leader of the Bruno Fernandes fan club. I absolutely love this player. I think he's a brilliant captain. And I've said it before, if I could interview one player, I would interview Bruno Fernandes. I think he's brilliant. And happy birthday to our captain. And I hope he can captain us to a trophy and lots of wins this season, even though it's not started off on the best note. Happy birthday to our captain. How old is he? 29, I think it is. It scares me because we've not got long left of the captain. Obviously, I think Bruno will play into his mid-30s, but he seems like a very, healthy, physically fit footballer. But I really hope we win like Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues with Bruno. I don't see us being in the position to do that for at least another 2 years. But I love Bruno. Happy birthday to him. I would love us to win something with him as captain. Like I know we've won the Carabao Cup, but like win, a Premier League or a Champions League, something really, really kind of prestigious. Casper, member for 14 months, not doing a proper background check sounds like such a Glazer, Richard Arnold United thing to do. Wouldn't surprise me. So happy birthday to our captain. And yeah, guys, get your predictions in the chat for, the game against Brighton. I know it's early, but get your predictions in. Let me know what you think. Is Amrabat going to play? Look forward to Goldbridge Ball tomorrow. But before then, you've still got a little bit to look forward to. We have Rob Dawson on the show with Adam at 2 p.m. Really interesting interview coming to you. He's done a lot of stuff regarding Sancho, so it'll be great to kind of get some insight from a very good journalist on this subject, Rob Dawson from ESPN, on at 2 p.m. And also we have the evening show with you or any other breaking news coming out before that. It's Man United, so we'll probably see something. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that it's going to be something positive. But have a lovely Friday, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. I was going to say, I nearly said this phrase that I used to say all the time, but I'm not going to say it because it's inappropriate for a Friday show. But have a lovely, lovely evening, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you hit a like on the video. See you later, everyone.